There's a number of suggestions by the good doctor that might work fine for theses and surveys and reports and make people feel good. But most of the recommendations should be left to the people who have the problem and who can solve the problem. The local employees, the local government. Now, for the presentation made by the League of Cities, you would think after 52 years, and that's how long I've been involved with this chapter 175 and 185. 52 years. My first appearance before a legislative committee was in 1959. And Mr. Chairman and members, it was for the same blessed thing we're talking about now. Premium tax revenue. Who would have thought in 52 years you couldn't have solved it? The language has been in the statute since 1937 for the fire, 1953 for the police, that if you have a pension system for your employees, then in that case, if it meets the minimum requirements of this statute, you may petition by ordinance the state to share in its revenue of the premium tax. You may. You don't have to. No one's holding a gun to your head. But the city saw the dollar signs. They used the money as they saw fit for a number of years. And in the late the early 1970s, 13 different cities, fire and police officers sued their cities for misrepresentation and misuse of the premium tax dollars. All of them won. All the suits that was filed were either settled out of court or adjudicated in favor of the employees. So the practice stopped. You only burn so many fingers before everybody else gets kind of leery. So it is a contentious issue. But when 99-1 was adopted by the legislature, it wasn't rammed through on a partisan basis, Mr. Chairman. The vote was something like 113-4 in favor. So it couldn't be all wrong. In the Senate, it was 36-2. In the House, it was the only bill passed that day. They took it up, they passed it, and they adjourned for the day. They had done their work, and they thought they had put it to rest. Is it contentious? Absolutely it's contentious. When you talk about money, even in your own family, it's contentious. But it could get hostile before it gets better. But everything, every living thing that the League of Cities has proposed to you is either a method to skirt around what they have not been able to accomplish in bargaining, or they want to use money as they see fit. They want you to change the presumption. Presumption has been in each of these statutes since they were created. It's not something that came along just last week. They would like for you to change disability to that which appears in 121, the Florida retirement system. Why? Because the local systems say if you cannot be a police officer or you cannot be a firefighter, then you're eligible to retire. 121 doesn't say that. 121 says if you cannot be an officer or an employee, then you are eligible to retire. How much money would it save to take a police officer who goes into the service and wants to be there as a career, and for some reason he has to retire on disability? But the city says, oh, no, we don't want you to retire as an officer. It's going to cost us money. We'll put you over in purchasing. We got a paper shuffling job available over in purchasing. That's not fair. Most departments now require officers to have 2 years of junior college to get a job. That ought to be worth something. Both fire and police are required to be certified under the state statutes. That ought to be worth something. So to tear apart what has been a hard process to obtain and accomplish is not an easy decision for you to make, I'm sure. I would submit to you, Mr. Chairman and members, that there's adequate reporting requirements in 112 and in 185 and 175. Requirements of actuarial assumptions, paperwork that goes to the Division of Retirement for their review. It also goes to the Department of Management Services as a whole. It goes to the Department of Revenue, and they also go to the Department of Financial Services. How many more reports do you need, and to how many more agencies? So more reports don't suffice. I would urge you, members, as strongly as I can, to be very cautious before you come forward with a legislation that would do what the cities, if they have the gumption and they have the backbone and they have the fortitude, they should do themselves. If they can't get concessions from the fire and police, then they must be concessions that are unreasonable, not concessions that are workable. And to come to the legislature and say, we can't do it on the local level, slip it in there and let's give it to them. That's not the way. That's not the way, and it shouldn't be. And I urge you not to do it. I think I've said enough.